Today we're tying a small stonefly pattern that also is a great sub as a crayfish. We're tying it on the Allen N202 hook. Rather than starting the thread as normal and working back to the bend, first I'm going to move the bead backwards and start my thread just behind the eye. Now I'll take a section of rubber leg about the length of the hook shank and tie it in facing forward. Then double your rubber leg over and trap it down. Whip finish a couple times on those rubber legs and then trim your thread free. Now I can start my thread behind the bead and work back to the bend as usual. Here I'm going to tie in a second set of rubber legs just as I did up front. Next I'm going to add a little bit of lead wire, not only to taper the body, but to make the fly a little bit heavier. Don't bring your lead wire all the way up to the bead because you want to make some space to tie in your collar later. And here, before I get rid of this tag end, I'm just going to bring it around that lead wire I've created, which will help broaden the body a tiny bit more. Now I'll just build up a thread body around that tapered lead body I've created. The smoother transitions you create, the easier the next steps are going to be. The body of this fly is going to be very similar to that caddis we tied 2 weeks ago, where it's going to be made up of 2 parts. First, we're going to tie in a vinyl rib, and then we're going to tie in some Mylar Tinsel. The Mylar Tinsel will be wrapped up the body to begin, and then the D-rib will be brought back over top. Before I bring the Mylar forward, I'm going to lay a tiny bit of super glue on the thread body. If you add too much, it'll press through the Mylar, so in this case, you only need to add a nice thin layer. Trim your Mylar free, and then bring your D-rib forward over top. Stop your vinyl wrap about 1 wrap before you get to the bead, tie down, and cut it free. Then, preen back the fibers on a CDC feather and tie it in by the tip. Be careful on this step as you palmer the feather forward, as the stem on these CDC feathers is quite fragile. Take as many touching wraps as it takes to reach the bead, and then trap it down. Now you can simply whip finish over the top. I've taken wraps on either side of that CDC stem just to make sure that it's secure. If you prefer, you can also add some form of adhesive to complete the fly.